if you made a decision, you're married, and it's gone kind of downhill, I'm not saying that it can't work at all. You got married for a reason. I'll always say that.
Right.
And so there are things that you can do to improve your relationship, that's for sure. But that's not what this is about. People, they're doing the best they can with what they know. And
Right.
if I hadn't met you, I would be on the same page as them.
Not really about that thing.
Right.
Those small things. You forgot to put your dirty socks in the bin. All the things that people get nagged about, or the irritants that. It's not those things.
Not investing fully in your relationship when you're married is the worst thing that you could do, because you're 1 foot in and you're 1 foot out.
Right.
And if you truly love somebody, that's like, I don't know, that's like having a baby and being like, oh, well, if you act up, I'm going to kick you out.
Just sort of brushed under the rug. So I think that is where people get that state, because especially over time, let's say that because this decay, this plaque, it builds up over time. Mm-hmm. You now have, if this takes 2 or 3 years for this process to happen, now you've formed attachment. And so you do love the person because you're attached to them, just like you love a family member, you're attached to them because you've been with them for so long, but you don't like them anymore because you have so much resentment and bitterness towards them. And it's almost like you hate them, but you love them. And you see that a lot with people that have this animosity. Or, I mean, it's all over culture, media, television, TV, in movies where people joke all the time about hating their spouse, not liking their spouse, can't stand them, jokes about their husband, jokes about their wife.
Well, because it's been normalized. Like, that is what I think the problem is, though, is that it's been normalized. And I'm not saying that, if your relationship has a lot of resentment and tooth decay, as you would say, that you can't fix it so it's better.
Right.
But I think if people start off with a better foundation of what a healthy and good relationship looks like, they'll make better decisions. Now, if you made a decision, you're married, and it's gone kind of downhill, I'm not saying that it can't work at all. You got married for a reason. I'll always say that.
Right.
And so there are things that you can do to improve your relationship, that's for sure. But that's not what this is about, this topic. This topic is about, that difference, the difference in truly loving somebody for exactly who they are. And I want to talk about it because I didn't love anyone for who they truly were until you. And so that's why I think people, they're doing the best they can with what they know. And if I hadn't met you, I would be on the same page as them. Sure. I would have ended up with somebody who did things that bothered me, but that I loved them. Like, most of the time it was good. And, maybe this is annoying that they do. And maybe I don't really like this, but that's not really that bad comparatively to things. And that's not necessarily like horrible.
Right.
But when you came along, I realized the better thing to do and the best thing is to be with somebody who you love no matter what. I mean, last night, one of your contacts was in our bed, right? And I always joke about your contacts. It really doesn't bother me, but I bring it up because it would have bothered me.
Yeah.
With someone else, it would have bothered me.
Right.
It would have made me so upset that your contacts are everywhere.
Right.
But because I love you so much, I think it's funny.
I get
and
it.
That's
and
the thing.
you're telling the truth. Yeah, and you're telling the truth.
Right, but it's like, I'm just trying to say that I understand where these people are coming from because, like I just said, if it was anybody else, that would bother me. That would be an ick or a thing that I would, like, not like hate you for or not like you for, but it would detract from the love. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody has those certain things. Like, there's things your family members do where you're like, I don't like that. There's things that your friends do where you're like, I don't like that. But when you're with somebody that you wholeheartedly love everything about them, then that goes away. And I didn't think it was possible. Like, I didn't think that was possible. And sometimes too, even when I was dating, I'd be like, am I being a huge bitch right now? Because I'm like, I don't want to go on another date with this guy because the way he chooses food. That's not actually happened, but it would be something small like that where I'm like, am I just being like a super picky person? Like, but it's bothering
Right.
me.
Well, yeah. Well, what's going on, and this is what I would say, is that it's not about the contacts. It's not about the chewing the food. It's that something else is bothering
lacking.
you. Yeah. And that became the thing that now irritates you. You
Or
know?
something you can pick to like blame it
Exactly.
on, but yeah.
Because it's not really about that thing.
Right.
Those small things, you forgot to put your socks your dirty socks in the bin. All the things that people get nagged about, or the irritants that. It's not those things, I don't think. And that's where I think also, well, because I'm also trying to think about, practically for people that are watching or listening to the show as well, what can they duplicate, right? Besides the magical part of it, there's a practical part that they can duplicate, which is, I believe that, like I said, I believe it's a combination of the both, right? Because I had the same experience with you. I was like, wow, I just love everything about Nicole. She's just amazing. I never met someone like that before that I get along with so well, that I just, I'm just happy all the time. I'm just so glad that I get to spend my life with you and time with you. And I just want to spend all my time with you. But I think also that part of that is the way that we have been able to handle conflicts when we've had them, where we come out of it and we never let that plaque build up. And I think it happens for a couple of reasons. I think one of them is, and we talked about this the other night too, is the commitment level, right? There's this psychological principle I was reading in this book, and it was talking about how if you commit to something and say, this is absolutely it, you'll be much more happy with your choice.
I agree.
Than if you half-heartedly commit. If you're like, okay, I think this is the best one. The more confident you are in your choice, the more happy you will be with that choice.
Well, I wrote down that I think they don't fully invest because they've already reached that point of, I don't really like this person.
Yeah.
And then that's why so many people have these backup plans, like ready to go if they get a divorce or if they break up. They're like already have it planned because something in them doesn't like certain aspects of the person already. Because in the honeymoon phase, let's use that, you don't have a backup plan. You're enjoying it. You're like riding the ride. You're like, this is amazing. This is awesome, right?
Right.
But then something happens in these other instances, and now it's like, well, he did this that one time, and that was kind of like weird. So maybe I should like have a savings account in case, he kicks me out because this isn't going to work. And so many people live their life like that, even when they're married. They're not fully invested because they have that sort of like, I don't like this certain thing. And I agree that it's probably resentment. A lot of it's resentment. And I agree that if they did fully invest, that it would cause the love to grow and make their relationship better. I do agree. But, we've talked about it a lot, that not investing fully in your relationship when you're married is the worst thing that you could do, because you're 1 foot in and you're 1 foot out.
Right.
And if you truly love somebody, that's like, I don't know, that's like having a baby and being like, oh, well, if you act up, I'm going to kick you out, to a 3-year-old, and they're going to act up. Like you forgive that child because you love them fully for who they are. When they make mistakes, everything, you can have that, and you should have that with your partner,
and
who you're going to spend the rest of your life with, who you created the baby with.
And that's that level of commitment. It's like, look, if I had a car, and I had the money to buy another car, if that car broke down or it wasn't working so well, I probably might ignore it, or I might just junk it, whatever, I'll get another car. If I don't have the money to buy another car and this is my only transportation, I'm going to take care of that car. I'm going to fix it when it's broken. I'm not just going to let it stay broken. And so that's the same thing, is that commitment in the relationship. Because if I marry you and I'm like, this is my wife, this is the only woman I'm going to be with for the rest of my life, there's no other option out there because this is what I have chosen. Then if we get into an argument, I'm going to look at it differently. I'm not going to look at it as like, Oh, yeah, man.
Like, I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, I can't, she fooled me. Like, I don't, who is this person? Like, I'm not going to think of that or like, man, I don't know if I should have done it. Maybe I made a mistake. Like, you know, that's how I might be thinking if I'm not thinking that way. But if I'm thinking like I just said, then we get into argument and I'm saying, oh, wow, that hurts. But we got to fix this. We got to, I'm still seeing you as this amazing person because you are the one for me. And then that comes from that commitment. That's that choice that a person has to make to actually commit. And which kind of, all these things sort of weave together because it is both the romantic side that you're talking about and the practical side that I'm talking about. Because you have to say, first of all, before you even get to the commitment level, do I really, really love this person?
Right.
Are they wonderful to me at this point? If you're like, they're 80%, then you need to pass on that, and or keep dating until it gets to 100%. If you feel like it's going to get to 100%, but so there's that part of it, and that's I think what you're saying is that romantic part. There has to be that connection that has to exist.
Right.
Better than perfect, we stand.